Welcome to Papa's Workshop. In today's video, I am working on a big sign. Now this sign has taken me several days to be able to do, and this is what it's going to look like. Now this is a sign that my son designed, and he printed it out with tiling, taped it together, and that's what we're working with. In today's video, what I'm going to be talking about is using the Oramask 813 and being able to use the laser as a stencil. And the goal was to be able to make this right here along with the poker chips. It turned out fantastic, and I want to show you how I did it today. Let's get started. A day in the shop with Papa in Papa's Workshop. To support my channel, please go to patreon.com/Papa's Workshop. In today's video, we're using stencils with the laser to be able to make the royal flush and some poker chips. This sign has a lot of different components to it. Many of the items are being raised. Some of them are being carved into the background, and others were used in the stencils to be able to create the different items. So there was a lot of experimentation with this sign, and it's really coming together nice. But I didn't want to wait till the very end. I wanted to start showing you some of the steps along the way so that you can see how I got from the very beginning to the end. And today we're going to be talking about the stencils. The stencils is something that I wanted to be able to try with the Oramask 813 and the laser. And guys, it really does work well. Now I've tried it with several different ways, with the air assist on, with the air assist off. I also tried a number of different settings to be able to get it to carve exactly the way I wanted it. Finally got it, and the results have been fantastic. I want to show you one of the poker chips up close and let you see the detail. This absolutely turned out fantastic. And this is a stencil that was created using the laser and that Oramask. And there is no bleed through whatsoever. Now the black is actually painted. That worked a lot better for the results that I was trying to get. Now this was the trial version that I did, and it actually looks quite good. Now I used the air assist, and I used different settings for the laser to be able to do this. But if you zoom in real close, you can see some little, and it's not really bleeding through, it's actually burns from the laser that caused this, and it made it where the plastic on the Oramask was actually melting, and that's what caused the problem. So like I said, that was the first experiment. Then, with the change of a few settings, eliminated the air assist. You can look now, these are perfectly crisp lines. They look absolutely fantastic. It almost looked like decals that was put onto this board instead of being painted. So the stenciling really works once you get the settings down, and today I'm going to show you those settings. Now this is the unmasking of the first test. And when I started unmasking it, I was thinking, wow, it's actually looking pretty good. But then, as I was continuing to unmask all the little details, I started looking at it and say, you know what? I think we can do better. But this one, actually, for the first time, using the Oramask 813 and the laser with some settings that I had no idea where to begin with, I think the results actually turned out pretty good. But I wasn't satisfied, and I hope that you guys are not satisfied either in your shop. So I decided to do some experimenting and get it even better. Now I'm not going to give you the settings that I started with or the experiments that I did just to get to this stage, but what I do want to do is show you the end result and the settings that I used. And realize, guys, you're still going to need to do some experimenting to be able to have it work with your laser, because everybody's is going to be just a little bit different. First thing you're going to notice is I'm cutting this out with a bandsaw. I'm not using the laser, and I'm not using the CNC machine. Why, may you ask? Well, I often have a lot of comments to say, well, my gosh, you use all the CNC machines. I don't have a CNC machine. Do you ever use the other tools? Well, today I just wanted to take a few minutes and just relax and be able to cut this out using the bandsaw. And so yes guys, I do have other tools and I do use them along the way in addition to the lasers, in addition to the CNC machines. Oh, and yes, it does require sanding. So I got to get out the belt sander and go ahead and sand this nice and smooth on all the edges. Now this experiment, even though it's not perfect, I still may find a place to hang this up in the shop because I really like the way it looks. I just wish that the quality was like the second one instead of this one. My problem is I just hate to throw it away because it was a lot of fun to make. It actually looks, I would say, better than average, so it's not going to be finding a home in the trash can. Now after running quite a few tests, I decided to go ahead and do the poker chip first using my new settings. And again, I turned the air assist off, so that is not working. And I put in the new settings, and I think this is going to do good. And I decided to do the small poker chip first instead of the royal flush. I wanted to be able to make sure that it was going to work. This goes very, very quickly because it's just cutting out the lines. And then you just peel away the stencil part so that you can paint it. And yes, this circle that it's creating right now, I could have done it where it had cut all the way through, but I chose not to because, quite frankly, this is still part of the whole experimenting process. But you can see that this looks really fantastic. Now the true test is, can I peel it off and have a perfect fit? And look at this. This is exactly what I was hoping for it to do. It peels off, revealing the part that is going to get painted. So I'm real happy with this. So the Aura mask was actually able to be burned through, but it did not melt it. And that's the whole goal on this. And the fact that you can just lift off the edge like this and then grab and pull, that is the perfect setting. I'm going to show you the second one because I liked the first one so well. I went ahead and did the second one and I had the equal results. It worked out just perfect. So now let's go ahead and get these painted and let's talk about the settings that I used. Now in Lightburn, what I want to be able to show you down here at the bottom is I changed this to 30 inches per minute. No air assist is on. I actually increased the power to 60%. I had a lower setting with the air assist and it was melting the plastic. That's really as simple as it gets. So let's go ahead now and spray paint these. And today I'm using a flat black primer and I'm going to spray just a couple of light coats on this so that it will cover. Now this is the raw wood. I did not seal this wood first. So this is raw wood and I'll put a good clear coat on this afterwards. Now we'll have to say it does take good preparation. You want to make sure that this Aura mask is adhered to the material really, really good. Now what I'm using is an old credit card just to be able to go over this all the way in several different directions just to make sure that I've got it really stuck down good. Now, let's continue. Now that I had such great success with the poker chips, it was time to go back and do the royal flush again, and you can actually see this doing the engraving and it's doing a fantastic job. Look at the detail. There's no burning. It has nice, crisp, sharp lines. And that's what you want to be able to do when you're creating a stencil. Now I was a little bit nervous because the poker chips actually was raw wood, not treated at all. This is actually painted. It had a couple of coats of sealer on it and then it had the white paint. And it still did equally well with the settings. And look up close. You can see again the very fine lines. There is no melting of the plastic, even though it was a painted surface underneath. So this setting, I think, will work in a lot of different situations. Now my son brought this paint over, so we're going to give this a try, and I think it's going to do real well. Satin black, and we're going to spray it over the white pre-finish that was underneath this mask. And look at these edges. All of these edges are sealed, sharp. This is going to be fantastic, as you saw earlier in the video. Now we're still going to do just some couple of light coats to be able to have a good coverage on this. And right away I can see that this paint is definitely a different consistency. It's a little bit thinner, but it does have good coverage. And just in case you forgot, yes, I do use the bandsaw to be able to cut out the parts. So no laser here today and no CNC cutting this out. And I do want to cover these settings one more time. The speed that I'm running on this is 30 inches per minute, and I'm running this at 60% power, and there is no air assist. And I found that that works much, much better. Now I do have multiple layers on this, and I only need to cut out the blue on here and the red line as well for the outline. The rest of them are showing no output at all, and that way I can still use them during the design process but not have to deal with anything else. And I did have to go back and change the red to make sure that it was at 30 and that this was at 60 as well. Now the red line was actually designed for when I do this again in the future to be able to cut through the material, so it will cut it out instead of using the bandsaw. To be able to keep a little bit more organized, I can rearrange these, and by clicking this arrow on the right hand side, I can move the blue, which is going to be my cut line, and I can move it up to the top. And then I can also have the red underneath, and then the other two, the black and the green, just really don't matter, but I don't want to delete them. And this just helps to keep you a little bit more organized. Now you do see the power at 50%, and I wanted to experiment a little bit more to see if I could keep the speed at the 30 inches per minute, and if I would be successful at reducing the power down to 50%. And yeah, it worked really well. And this goes to show you that there is quite a bit of flexibility that you can have success with the settings on your laser. So please don't be afraid to experiment. Try different settings, try different things. It will only make you better, and it will definitely help and improve the projects. So a quick look back at the plans that we're going with. Today we were successful at being able to get the poker chips done, and we were able to get the royal flush done. Now on another video I'll show you how we did the carving, the letters, and the scrolls. That's coming up, so please subscribe to the channel. So you can go from a concept and plans to reality. You can do quite well with your experimenting, and then with a little bit more effort you can improve that and get it even better. And that's the goal of doing these different projects. Because this one looked good, and it would be very acceptable for anybody to be able to have this in their home. But when you think about it and you turn around and say, hey, I can do better, and let's change a few settings, look at the difference. It's almost like night and day. So guys, get out there, experiment, try some different things, use these settings as a good starting point, and let's see what type of projects that you can come up with. So leave some comments down for me and below to tell me what kind of project that you're using for stencils. So again, thank you for watching today, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video.